the nominee for roads and infrastructure. Before we can proceed, let me ask again for the members of the committee to introduce themselves, starting from the clerk.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Barnaba Koske from the County Assembly.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Honorable David Wambok, member of the Appointment Committee.
Okay, through the chair, my name is David Koech, the vice chair and the leader of majority.
Honorable Chair, my name is Honorable Gideon Koech, member of the committee.
Honorable Elliot Kirongo, member of this committee. Thank you, Chair.
Cynthia Muge, member of this committee.
Thank you so much. So welcome, Mr. Drice Rono. Are those your full names?
Yes, those are my.
So welcome to the appointment committee of the County Assembly of Nani. The exercise is where we're supposed to vet and be able to get from you answers that will enable us consider and guide the County Assembly in making a decision whether to approve your nomination to the position of the CEC Transport and Infrastructure. So welcome. We'll expect you to give us factual answers, be brief, be straightforward. The same is recorded into the Hansard and same considered to be testimony under oath. So give us truthful and honest information.
Thank you, sir.
So quickly, Mr. Drice Rono, just in under a minute, could you tell us about yourself, your qualifications, and why you think you're suitable for this job?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, the Vice Chair, and the members of this committee.
Let me just interrupt you. As is expected procedurally, you'd hand over all your documents and testimonial for the clerk to verify. Then you proceed with your...
Yes.
Proceed. I'll go again with a question about yourself, your academic qualification, and why you think you're suitable for the job. What is so unique and what makes you tick that the committee can consider you for the job?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Drice Rono. I'm a citizen of the Republic of Kenya from Nandi County, Masop Sub-County, Kabiet Ward. I schooled in the same sub-county, that is Elite Academy, where I sat for my KCP certificate in the year 2003 and proceeded to Kapsabet Boys. That is the year 2002. 2003, I joined Kapsabet Boys, where I got TSC in 2006, mechanical land. During my career in Moi University, I was attached to Kenya Power. That was my first attachment in third year, where I was in Kenya Power, I was attached to the transport department, where my major activity there was fleet management, record keeping, and also maintenance of Kenya Power fleet. My fourth year, I was attached to Kenya Bureau of Standards, head office Nairobi, whereby we were verifying the standards of various products in the Kenyan market. And later, in my final year, I was lastly attached at Maramba Tea Factory, whereby I was attached at maintenance department in the tea factory. Also in the same year to note, my final year project, I did a project which was considered for patenting in WIPO France. And I got an opportunity to represent the Kenyan universities in an international competition, where I converted solid waste, polythene, and came up with fuel, which it was proven that it could run some of the motor vehicles and motorcycles. It was proven in the university, and the analysis was done. So my project was considered for patenting, and it was given a window period, incubation period of 6 years. After the university, I soldiered on with the registration with professional bodies, that is Engineers Board of Kenya. And after graduating on 2014, I was lucky to be considered as a senior superintending engineer in the county of Samburu. Being in a place whereby it was far away from home, I was determined to deliver. And there were a number of challenges in my first entry in the county. First of all, there was issue with fleetmen. Within the first 6 months, I was able to draft a Samburu transport policy, which aired the procedures for fueling, maintenance, and repairs of all the county fleets, and also all the mechanical services in the county. It was a great achievement since there was a tremendous drop in the cost of repairs of the fleet. I also ensure that the drivers were adequately well equipped, and I recommended some of them to keep it for refresher courses, defensive courses. These have actually helped me a lot in managing the department. With the trust which I earned in the first 6 months, I was given a task to ensure that the plant equipments are in serviceable conditions, and also to open the new roads for some of the projects, especially the area I'm working is in an arid place, whereby there is scarcity of water. So I was doing the job of opening the new roads for some of the projects, the drilling rigs, to reach the sites. And the most and the hardest part I've ever done in my life is opening a road to Skuta Valley. You know the famous Skuta Valley whereby 47 soldiers were killed. I did a road to Skuta Valley, and as we are talking now, we have 5 balls which has been drilled in Skuta Valley, and 3 are in operation. I even risked my life. I was not attacked once by the bandits, but more than 4 times. But I gave all for the service or the commitment I had for the people of Samburu. Secondly, in the same department, I have handled several water projects, ranging from, I have managed roughly around 60 boreholes, which were drilled in the middle of nowhere, since the people in Samburu are nomads. And you can drill a borehole after geological survey. That will encourage the people to move towards those water points. So in Samburu, I have supervised more than 60 water projects, which are incomplete. I have opened more than 2,500 kilometers of new roads in the county. I have also supervised the machinery which were used in actually, because we have tarmacked the town of Maralal at 10 kilometers using the county resources. And I was actually taking the task to use the county equipment in ensuring that low volume pro-based technology works in Samburu. Currently, if any honorable member have been to Samburu, maybe he or she can witness that the road has been done. Secondly, I have supervised the construction of county headquarters, which was a mega project which was done at a cost of 382 million. And for this, we handed over the project last week, and here are some of the evidence for the work which we did. Mr. Chair, kindly. That is one of the flagship project, which was managed by Public Works, and I was part of the project management team, which we conceptualized the project from the design to the last stage. Thirdly, having gained that experience in the county, which is larger than Nandi 7 times, because the area coverage of Samburu County is around 21,000 kilometers square, which we are working tirelessly day and night, ensuring that the roads in Samburu are motorable. We are opening the security roads in the county for the security officers to reach where there is an emergency. On top of that, in my service, when I joined there was an issue with alteration of fuel, which most of the county fleets were damaged because of the alterated fuel. I was able to write to Energy ERC, that is Energy Regulation Commission, Kenya Bureau of Standards, for them to come and test the standards of the fuel. And we managed to pin down 2 petrol stations, which actually they incur the cost of around 2 million on repairing the motor vehicles which were damaged due to bad fuel. This is all because of service delivery, commitment. At some point during when we were addressing the issue, one of the petrol station owners actually threatened my life for the 2nd time. Because normally in Samburu, gun is like a walking stick. You'll find everyone working in town carrying a gun. So because of commitment towards service, I was not threatened because I was determined. That is why giving back to the community, working or giving that commitment to my home county is a privilege to me. And it is a way of giving back to the community. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you for that long opening remark. Kindly try to be as clear as possible, and I think we'll be able to see whether you are able now to effect, because you've said so many things you've done in Samburu. It's only that none of us could be there to verify. We'll try just using these documents and the questions they'll ask. Honorable David Bombok.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Welcome, Drice Rono. My questions, however, I've seen you have just gone ahead about the functions that you have done over there, and the target would have been different. And now that you have just been appointed on another target of CEC, then I may ask, what are some of these functions of the county executive member, CEC, in brief?
County executive member is a policy maker in the department. Secondly, he supervises, or he or she supervises all the departmental activities and service delivery, ensure that every timely activity is done on time. Thirdly, the county executive committee member always relays the relationship between the executive and the county assembly through sectoral committees. Among several other roles, those are just a few which I've mentioned.
Thank you. You have taken us through. Then what are some of the responsibilities, again, of the CC member, in brief, again, for the members to hear?
Pardon?
The responsibilities, how are you attached?
The responsibility of the county executive committee member, as I have stated, he or she is a policy maker, Secondly, he relays or develop that working relationship between the county assembly and the executive and ensures that each and every question which is required at the county assembly, you will be able to answer through the sectorial committees.
And then I just have another one question to ask
Yes.
concerning the fuel. Now that you are in your home county, and we have had in the transport and infrastructure issues about a motion that has been passed requiring that the fuel should be decentralized. And I've just heard you talking about in sub-counties to date, that's not been done. So if given this opportunity and opportunity, what measures are you going to take to see that the implementation part of it is brought?
Thank you. I fully support the decentralization of fuel to the sub-county level. One being, there is a lot of waste of time for a motor vehicle to move all the way from the farthest end of the county, come and refill from the county headquarters. I really support the decentralization of fuel to the sub. I'm considered for this position. I'll ensure that the service providers actually move from analog way of managing fuel to that is the use of e-cards. You go to a petrol station, we take all the information of that fleet, recorded in a database, say that whenever a driver goes to a petrol station, what he or she needs is just swiping for the fuel. And this only will be possible if we push hard for these service providers to ensure that at every sub-county level, they are either sub-dealer for them or the dealer. So that also the fuel can be drawn from any part of the county, and this will be managed through the fleet management software, whereby if the driver goes to a petrol station in Kaptumo, through the software in the office, you are able to know that 50 liters of fuel were drawn from that petrol station. At the same time, it will reduce the process whereby because all of us are Africans, human beings are always, we have several characters. At some point, if the driver tries to siphon out the fuel, you are able to know from the office. That is some of the systems which I want to put it in place, and these are not expensive softwares, which will cut across all the issues.
Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Drice, tell us what period of time should we give you to implement that? Because I can see members are nodding. We've been having an issue with that.
Yes.
You need to tell this committee and the assembly, how long should we expect that to be done?
First of all,
No, just give a timeline.
I just need a month because
Within 1 month, 30
Yes.
days, you think it's enough?
yes, it's enough. Because also, if we purchase these softwares, by the time we are procuring the softwares, we will ensure that we use the existing structures. We have vehicle maintenance logbook. Every department, I will ensure that with the first 1 month, every department must submit the logbook in detail.
You've
So
worked
that
in
from-
government. You've worked in government.
Yes,
Is
I've worked in
procurement
government.
possible in 30 days?
Procurement is not possible in 30 days, but I will work with, that is a vehicle maintenance logbook. We have the manual way. From there, we can analyze the amount of fuel which has been drawn within a month. Also calculate versus the kilometers covered. You are able to know the consumption of the vehicle. If the vehicle is not economical to maintain, well, then we recommend forwarding.
So you tell us again, you are repeating that 1 month will be enough for you to implement that.
Yes, 1 month is enough for me to implement. I'll push through the county executive committee members.
Honorable David Koech.
Thank you, Chair. At least we are happy to hear that if you will be able to implement in the next 1 month. I don't know now. In our county, we have the hired machines. We have the dosers, the excavators, graders, Yeah, I think, and even tippers. I don't know how you can be able to manage the excavators, because we've realized in the past, some of the operators leave the machine running without necessarily doing the work, but at the same time, they keep counting the hours. How are you going to manage those losses that the county has been experiencing?
Those are technical issues which are actually almost in every part of this country. I have visited the GDC on the issue of benchmarking of managing of this fuel. All this will be addressed if we only adopt the fleet management software, whereby the fuel will be managed from the office. You'll be able to know that this machine, whether it is running idle, or even if you put the ignition switch, the clock will just count. So I'll ensure that these softwares, the people actually, or the stakeholders who normally hire out the equipment, we come to an agreement so that before they give us the services, they have to ensure that these softwares are installed in their machines. That is the first condition we'll give, so that we can avoid the situation whereby a machine is left running, it is not doing any work, and with this software, you're able to know, you're able to calculate, and also we'll give them timeline. I have worked in a place whereby I know that the number of hours which is required for a motor grader to cover maybe 3 kilometers. In a good place, you're able to assess that at least at an average of 8 hours, a grader is able to cover 1.5 kilometers. With that statistics, I will be able to push hard so that we get value for the money. We are actually wasting taxpayers' money through crude ways, and I'll ensure that those challenges are addressed adequately.
You mean for a good road, a creator can only cover 1.5?
1.5 for a bad road.
For a bad road.
Yes, I'm giving it on the lower side. Yes.
Next question. While counties undertake road constructions, national government through CDF also undertake roads construction. What are you going to do to ensure that there is no overlapping on road constructed and maintained between county government and national government?
This is the issue of establishing a good working relationship with state agencies like Kena, Kura, and Kera. If we establish a good working relationship with these road agencies, we are able to share the schedule. We prepare the schedule for road maintenance. Say that in a manner, we will be not in a situation whereby Kena, for example, does a road heading to east, Kura does a road heading to west, County does a road heading to south, and Kura does a road heading to north. We have to ensure that these agencies come together so that there is an interlink between all the road networks we'll be doing in Nandi County. It is a need whereby it is done through loping of events, and also push these people so that before the onset of the rains, they are able to come up with their calendar for preparation of the roads.
Maybe lastly, most of our road machines are lying idle because they have either broken down or they require service. What will you do to ensure that road machinery are serviced on time in order to give effective service delivery in roads?
I think several counties have had such challenges because of delayed disbursement of funds. And under my leadership, I'll ensure that I'll first of all study and come up with a procedure whereby if, for example, a dosa has broken up in a section or in any part of the county, what we must do is coming up with a movable mechanical workshop, fully equipped with compressors, welding machines, so that we are able to send a team to the site and reduce waste of time. Because at times, I've been in my place whereby there was a county creditor which broke down because of a puncture, and it took like almost 2 days. But if we have these machines, movable mechanical workshop for small vehicles and heavy vehicles, we are able to respond, to reduce that response time from 2 days to at least 4 hours at every part of the county.
Okay. Lastly, in Nandi County, we normally hire the machines. We have the county machines, and we have contracting of roads. Which option do you feel is most effective?
I will, because we have different fundings from different organizations, like we have money from KRB, Kenya Roads Board, and for KRB funds, they have standard way of operation. It has to be through tendering. But for the roads actually which are maintained by the county, we have to sit down with the leadership and discuss on the best way. But according to me, where I've been, we are able to utilize the county machinery and reduce the construction of a kilometer of a road. Because normally if you gravel a good road, and that is through tendering, it will cost the county government roughly 1.5 million per kilometer. But during my study, we were able to come up with a procedure whereby we were using the county machinery, and we were able to reduce the cost of that is paying the allowances for the plant operators, ensuring that there's a water booster, of course, to ensure that during compaction the soil is wet, and all those logistics. The analysis came to 454 million. That is 454,000. So if you divide 1.5 divided by 453,000, you are able to do more than 2.5 kilometers with the county machinery. So I'll forward my proposal and see on the best way of ensuring that the department in the next years to come, the Department of Transport and Public Works should be fully equipped, all kind of machinery and with a good number of them, so that all the road networks can be done adequately in the county.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe just some follow-up without the politics. How will you handle that?
Advertise. You lobby through say that at some point, you ensure that the interest of it's a matter of.
Thank you. I wanted you to clearly put that, because here in Nandi we tried the memorandum of understanding way, and we found ourselves in Nandi Hills, where I come from, in an awkward position when a road was in pathetic condition, but the county was blamed instead of care office that had been earmarked to be able to handle that issue. Fair enough. Now that you have been nominated to sit in the position of CC Roads, Transport and Public Works, maybe which are these policies which you think, if formulated by the department, can work well to be able to streamline the Department of Transport and Infrastructure, looking at the challenges? Like previously, you know what happened in the department that you have been nominated to. We had issues to do with loss of tires, issues with to do with fuel and the rest. What are these things that you would put in place to be able to mainstream this particular?
Honorable member, the issue with that section is about policy. We should move to the modern way of managing things. A case whereby actual software is a software which actually covered. Also, the amount of fuel consumed. Also, the amount of fuel consumed during the month, and also even it will notify the procuring entity when the level of tires, for example, dropped below specific points. It will be able to notify that we are at a risk stage. You must start the process of procuring new tires. And this will be done whereby it will be possible because the software will allow branding of tires for serialization. So you're able to log in and log out. So I don't think it's an issue. It will only be solved by the fleet management software, which has been used by different state agencies. One like Kenya Power, they are using it like GDC, and these are working softwares.
Fair enough. What would be your immediate action if, say, today the assembly approves your position as the CC in charge of transport and infrastructure in Nandi?
First of all, I will look at the review of annual development plan so that I will work within the law and also review the midterm terms for the CIDP so that I can give a clear direction to the department.
In terms of the human resource, what are the things that you would institute to, because this is a department that has a sizable number of human resource. What is, how are you able to handle maybe the human resource issues within the department, challenge of payment and the rest?
First of all, I'll take my time, learn on the issues, and address the issues in a humane manner. For example, you might go to a department whereby an individual is being condemned, that this person is not cooperative, is not doing this and this and this. I'll take my time. Because normally, if we criticize individuals, there is that untapped potential in that person. I'll make sure that I'll maximize the untapped potential of the human resource in that department so that they can feel part of the department.
You are aware that this position you have been nominated to is a political office. You have said several things to do with, you will do this and this and this. How will you be able to manage issues related, because this is a political office, you have been nominated by the governor. How will you rope in the office, the appointing office, so that what you are saying can easily be implemented?
I'll be guided by the principles of good governance. Because I believe in a leadership position, we always must set a good example in everything we do. In our teachings, we must set a good example in everything we do. In our teachings, we must show integrity, seriousness, and in our thinking, who he is today because of what he does and what he thinks.
Anyway, you've philosophically answered that, but no problem. We shall cross that bridge when we read there. Lastly, the county you come from.
Yes.
If my current affairs serves me right, the governor and a big team of staff are facing corruption charges. Is that right?
Yes.
Is it, I'm tempted to think there is a project you've showed us, and you said you were supervising?
Yes, as part of the project supervision team.
Of the project?
Yes.
I'm tempted to think that might be that is one of the projects that maybe the state officers are in court over the same.
First of all, to comment on that, the Senate Committee on Audit came, and they were actually shocked with such massive structure constructed at that cost. We might have some political challenges because the issues which were existing there, it was the issues of conflict of interest. And normally, as an individual there and being new in Samburu, I could not determine that which company belongs to who. So our work was service delivery, which conflict of interest was not part of what we're investigating.
Fair enough. Are you seeing now that you are now back to Nandi? Are you foreseeing issues to do with conflict of interest here in Nandi, and how will you be able to handle? And now that you have an experience and I've seen you've worked in some institution, are you foreseeing any issues to do with conflict of interest in this particular department?
If there's any conflict of interest, I will declare and opt out in decision making, if that decision will really or purely affect the decision making.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Kirongo.
Well, thank you, Chair. You've categorically stated that you need only 1 month to fix all the messes in the department,
Yes.
be it the machinery part of it, manpower. I'm tempted to imagine that you wanted to tell us because that is what we want to hear. But anyway, I must congratulate you in advance if your name will be approved. This vacancy emanated after the one member actually exited. Now, my question is, what are the grounds? You can tell us the grounds of the removal of the CC member. You're aware?
The ground for removal of the CC
Yes.
member, if the committee member is insane, to mean that he cannot deliver service to the people because of the challenge, misuse of office, gross misconduct, and even failing to attend the cabinet meetings for a specific period of quite a number of times without excusing he or herself by either writing to the governor.
Maybe you can share to this committee your strength and weaknesses and how you will balance the two in executing your duties.
As I have worked in a plain home, the skill of working in a multicultural society, that is one ability, which is my strength. And also ensuring that a project or a duty is done within timelines without supervision.
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Cynthia.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Engineer Drice, for your introduction and for showing up for this particular session. Now, being a very young guy, you are quite young. You see, in the Department of Transport and Infrastructure, there are so many bodies that are involved, including and not limited to the public works.
Pardon?
Including and not limited to public works. There are so many other bodies or sectors that you have to work with, being the CECM, roads and infrastructure.
Yes.
And at the same time, it involves roads and other infrastructures, which are so many in this particular county. Now, you will be working with both old and younger employees who are going to be under you. Now, being a young man or a young person, so to speak, how are you going to ensure that you reprimand these people who are working under you and are older than you without having to appear that you're disrespectful, and again, ensuring that you stand your grounds?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Member. I have worked in a senior position in the county of Samburu. We have, in fact, majority of my staff are old people. Most of them who are initially in the municipality, others who are seconded, and in the management, I've been able to manage them. And in fact, at some point, I was given the position of handling the welfare of the members in the department. And with my professionalism, I know on how to address some of these issues and ensure that the service is done without insulting an old person or insulting a young person. There is a proper way of addressing such an issues. Because first of all, we are guided by the principle of integrity and good governance.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Now, you had a very senior position in Samburu, and it looks like you're doing really well. What makes you think that you will do better or you will be better here in Nandi than in Samburu, where you have worked, you have been able to show and gain trust from the people you're working with? What makes you leave that job for this particular one that you're not even sure of getting as it stands?
First of all, and the most important thing, it really, at some point, you feel bad if you're in a place whereby everyone is new. At some point, you'll feel desecrated, and now being given an opportunity that I will be at home. First of all, for my personal growth, I'll be close with my family because my family stays at Kabiet. I normally travel several kilometers every week coming to see them. Secondly, it will be my opportunity. During my education period, it was the society who supported me to a position where I am today. So it will be a privilege for me if people of Nandi.
Thank you very much. So being close to your family and the county government of Nandi job, fair enough. In a nutshell, how many years roughly have you been working in this particular department of roads and infrastructure?
I have worked since 2015 to date.
So you have a 4 years experience?
Yes.
Now I can see your degree, you have a bachelor's degree in mechanical and production engineering.
Yes.
My basic knowledge tells me mechanical and production engineering deals with maybe construction of these massive machines for production and those kind of things. Now, tell me how you are able to apply that particular knowledge from an engineer who is basically supposed to be putting up machines that are supposed to be used for production in this particular field where you have how you're going to apply that in this particular field where you'll be dealing with managerial issues with using those machines, now those ones that have been produced, which is basically your job. Tell me how you're going to marry the two, your profession and now this job that you're being vetted for, if you get a chance to serve as CECM for transport and infrastructure.
First of all, it will be a good platform for me to guide or give direction in the department. With that experience, which I have gained in the field, I will be able to ensure that since the Department of Transport and Infrastructure actually is the key department in implementing some of the development projects in the county. With my knowledge, I will be able to deliver that. Like issues dealing with bill of quantities, I'll ensure that the bill of quantities are delivered on time for the user departments to advertise. Say that we cannot have delay of projects or moving from one financial year to another financial year because of delayed preparation of bill of quantities.
That is, you're speaking to your experience. Your
Yes.
experience will be, that will be in order. Your experience will be able to guide you
Yes.
in doing all those stuff or things that you have stated. Now, tell me the relationship of your study or specialization sector or your area in this particular job. Tell me how the two get to interlink.
Apart from our career, our personal growth as individual, as a law-abiding citizen, you are able to learn some of these managerial skills from the past experience. Because even we are told that experience is the best teacher. From what I have experienced, it has enhanced me with the right skill to manage, and also ensure that the managerial skills are trickle downwards from the top management to the lower individual.
Thank you, Drice. In a nutshell, you are saying that whatever you studied does not really matter here. What matters much and more is the experience that you have.
Yes.
Thank you. Now that you have talked about management, and to be honest, this will be more of a managerial position for you. What is the core principle or the main principle that you intend, the main management principle you intend to use in the managing of this department? Being a very primary department in this county, see, roads are very basic things, and it is what makes you or breaks you in politics. So what is that particular management principle that you're going to employ for this particular position?
I'll actually, first of all, embrace the principle of good governance. Secondly, we have national values, which are actually the guiding principle in some of these. We have also the constitution, which actually form the basis of ensuring that whatever you do it within the law.
So
Basis of ensuring that whatever you do it within the law.
So principle of good governance is what. To my second last, what are some of the challenges that you are aware of that this county government and that this department of roads and infrastructure is facing? Just give me two major challenges that you are aware we are facing as the residents of Nandi and of roads and infrastructure.
In the office or by the residents of Nandi?
Now, the residents one and the office one.
Of course, in the office, there are several challenges. One being the conflict of interest, of course, because you might find your brother coming to the office, ensuring that maybe he wants to ensure that he wants to get a tender. That is purely conflict of interest. That is some of the challenges we will get at that office. And I'll ensure that I'll work in a very professional manner.
So for the office challenges,
Yes.
you think the main challenge that we have in the lands and infrastructure, not lands, roads and infrastructure, is conflict of interest?
Conflict of interest. Secondly, we have delayed payment.
So the main one,
especially for the staff, which it cuts across all the companies. For me, at times, I will work in Samburu, always going to field work, and I'll not receive that per diem for a period of like 4 to 5 months. But you are soldiering on. You are ensuring that the service or the complaint per diem for a period of like 4 to 5 months, delayed payment by the National Treasury. So, which I think that it is some of the challenges, those are the cross-cutting issues across all the counties.
Drice, well, I don't feel like delayed payment is really a problem, but well, that is a problem according to you. Can you give me, and you have said that it is general faced by almost all the departments and counties.
Yes.
Give me a specific one for this particular county.
For this particular county, in the department, there is a challenge of the missing link or the gaps. For example, if it was in the public domain for the loss of tires, and it might be because of that is a missing link due to lack of the policies which must be put in place. Because this is a matter of accountability, and for you to account on different individuals, there must be policies, there must be procedures on ways of operation. Say that an individual might take the responsibility.
We will leave the challenges in the department aside. Let's talk about that one challenge that the people of Nandi are facing.
Actually, currently, we are blessed by God. We have evidence in our county. And actually, most of the roads are impassable. And if given this opportunity, we have a program. When I was growing, there was this program called Rural Works, Kitambo. It was given an acronym that is rural. But in the real sense, it was PWD, that is Public Works Department programs, which you involve. If given this opportunity, I'll ensure that there is a public work program across all the wards, whereby you involve the unskilled manual labor, the skilled manual labor. You give opportunity to the intern students, graduate students with diploma certificates, that they can enhance their skills by ensuring that you involve them. They'll feel being part of the county. Like now, we can grade and travel our roads very well. But with the onset of the rains, we need strategic planning to ensure that these public works program, the people at the ward level are able to be involved in opening of the drainage structures, miter drains, so that by the onset of the rains, we are prepared. Also, we must conserve the soil. So these are some of the programs which I'm seeing that it will only work if we involve the communities.
Thank you, Engineer. With that particular point about involving the community and using them to be able to do some of these things, I hope that you are aware that an attempt for this particular county assembly to ask the county executive to be able to use labor-based, as we would want to call them majorly, has failed because we do not have policies. And now that you have said in a month you're going to be able to rectify all these, we hope that at the end of a month after you've been given an opportunity to serve in this office, we will have a policy that will be able to guide this particular approach that you're trying to put across today. Now, to the last question, we have a lot of wastage in the machinery, especially the county machinery. Tell us how you're going to be able to manage this particular wastage. It is massive. It is a lot of wastage. Tell us how you're going to manage it.
Honorable Member, as I initially stated, I will really emphasize or push hard to ensure that the fleet management software, that is the only solution for some of these crude activities being done or using misuse of the resources, which actually should be utilized in serving the people.
Thank you. So you are telling us that you will use the fleet management system to manage this road machinery wastage?
Yes.
Completely?
Yes.
Thank you. Now we have other challenges like roads that are being done and they are not up to standard. We have a challenge with the sizes of roads. So many people have encroached on the roads. And just to be on record, this particular assembly has sent or has passed a number of motions about boundaries and road reserves that are supposed to be opened up, motions about the status of road works and the standard of the road works. All those motions have gone unanswered for this particular county assembly house. Now tell us, what are you going to do in order to ensure that you implement those particular, we want to call them policies, because a prayer from the county assembly to the executive is equals to a policy. You should come up with a policy. Now tell us, what are you going to do in order to ensure that you implement those particular, we want to call them policies, because a prayer from the county assembly to the executive is equals to a policy. You should come up with a policy to be able to implement these kind of things. And for the record, there's no policy that has come from the executive side the Department of Roads and Infrastructure that can be used to ensure that the roads that are being done are up to standard, that the roads that are being tendered or done by the county machinery are complete. In most of the cases, you find that a machine is given a certain working period, and actually it exhausts that working period before completing the road. You see, outside there, where the Mwananchi is, they do not want to know about how the hours ended. They want to know about how the road is completed and is going to be used. I want you to tell us what kind of policies, just one or two policies that you're going to work on in this 1 month that you have promised this county, this particular committee. What are those two policies that will ensure that, one, we have roads that are done to standard in terms of quality and in terms of size of the roads, and two, what you're going to do about these incomplete works that are all over in this particular county. Tell us those two policies, the policies that you're going to bring forward to curb that particular situation.
Thank you, Honorable Member. First of all, the issue which I want to state it clearly, I promised a period of 1 month to resolve the issue of fuel. That is the first assignment. I want to resolve it and put it to the past. Others will need strategic planning. I will ensure that, because the issue of narrow roads, I'll ensure that we have a good working relationship, because the infrastructural activities is vast. We have rights from Department of Lands, which actually give us the working space. We have other stakeholders, which also are involved in the process, like considering the working space for a pipeline, for example. I'll ensure that we will discuss with the relevant stakeholders, say that if there is a road reserve which has to be given by the Department of Lands, then we must talk on the standards. We ensure that in case of an expansion of, because we are projecting, all what we are doing now is we are planning for the younger generation. We must give enough working space to ensure that if there is a pipeline which has to be built, there's a space for that. We reduce the issue of compensation. Also, we have the issue of firefighting engine. We have to ensure that if water departments are doing installation of a pipeline, the issues dealing with head drums, which for emergencies, issues dealing with the working space for the roads department. So these are cross-cutting issues which we need to sit down as leaders of Great Nandi and ensure that before an approval of a structure is done, a contractor will not rush to physical planning department for approval, comes to public works for approval, that is architectural and structural design. We must sit as leaders and make sure that every approval which is made within the county, the people of lands are involved, the people of public works are involved, the water department is involved, and even the fire departments are involved. So that we cannot, in case of a disaster, we'll only come on some of these issues. We'll notice the importance of that department. I'll ensure that there's a good working relationship or coordination between all these sectorial departments which will be involved in infrastructural agencies.
Thank you, Engineer. Honorable Chair, one last one. Just
Kindly,
in a
our
nutshell.
time is up. So that should be the last question, but
Yes,
not more than a minute.
The
kindly.
very last one, and for purposes of time, Engineer, I would want you to just answer this particular one with a very simple answer. You are on record for having completed the governor's office in Samburu. Now, in your own view, what is the state of the governor's office in this particular county?
First of all, that also needs a leadership direction, which we will discuss and reach at an amicable solution.
One last one, Bwana Drice Rono. We don't live in a vacuum. One would be tempted to ask, how you managed to be appointed to be in the Department of Roads in Samburu County, having the qualification of a mechanical engineer and production engineering. Can this speak to the fact that the who is who in society?
First of all, I remember when I was applying for the job, I had gone for an interview in Transmara Sugar Company. I did the interview, and I was later called on being given the position, but there was an issue of remuneration. So I told the managers at Transmara Sugar Company. So I told the managers at Transmara Sugar Company that there was an issue with remuneration, and if they consider that, I will consider joining them because I've invested much in my education. Secondly, during the process, I got demoralized. Now that being told that this is the remuneration you are being given, and when I was applying, there was an advert by the Department of Prison Service advertising the senior position of deputy commissioner. They needed an engineer, a medical doctor, and when I was applying for that position, then I saw this other one for Samburu in the same newspaper. I applied, and I had a problem of even sending my academic qualification, knowing that I was a national by then. The G4S guys were requesting that I should pay around 6,000 for the envelope to reach Maralal. But by good luck, and a friend of mine just inboxed me through the social media, and I asked, how can I send these documents to Samburu? I was given a contact person. I went to nuclear station in Nairobi and sent the parcel to Samburu. Lucky enough, I was surprised when I was called for the interview. I didn't know even the road heading to Samburu. I went there, reaching, because on the way, there's a place called Sukuta Marmar. So I was shocked that this is the Sukuta Valley, the deadly valley. I'll do the interview, I'll never go back to that place. But on the way, there's a place called Sukuta Marmar. So I was shocked that this is the Sukuta Valley, the deadly valley. I'll do the interview, I'll never go back to that place. But when I was given the opportunity, let me try this. I found the place, people of Samburu were welcoming. The trust they got from the first months was in office.
Lastly, the Department of Roads has been rocked previously by infighting between the CEC and the CO. How would you intend to make sure that there is synergy in the working relations in the department that will see
The Committee on Roads and also another committee on general oversight have presented reporting on the roads department to this particular house. And the house ultimately adopted an ad hoc report which censored the CO for roads, who has been reinstated back in the same position. So as you answer that, how do you marry the same fact that there is a possibility the same roads committees in the assembly may have a problem dealing with some of the officers? How do you intend to navigate through that in answering that question by Honorable Gideon? Quickly.
First of all, the chief officer is the accounting officer of the department, being the AIE holder. And developing that working relationship, the cordial working relationship, by always ensuring that we are on the same page with the chief officer roads. We have to update ourselves on a regular basis to ensure that there is accountability. And for this, through that cordial working relationship, some of the issues raised by the honorable member will be resolved. All of us are leaders, but also in a working environment.
You are parting short. And when you're giving a party shot, remember something. You are parting short. And when you're giving a party shot, remember something. These same honorable members were hounding the member. I can confirm for you to be there, it is because of our reports and our complaints. we've suffered before.
Yes.
You've really mesmerized us with so many good things, papers. You've even given us sample policy documents you've done in Samburu. Now, we are afraid of falling for words and promises. That's why I was asking you timelines. In your parting shot, what should we expect and what will be different under a minute?
Of course, the people of Nandi expects a lot from us in the leadership position. And for this, I will only achieve all these issues basing on the policy documentation. Because if we have standard procedures, if we have standard procedures of operation, there will be no need for follow-ups. Because only at that management level, I'll be dealing with reports, feedback, and timelines.
Thank you so much. I wouldn't want you to say more because we'll be here and we'll be waiting. We wish you the very best. The committee will consider your submission. We'll do a report. Has to be tabled before the same house, before the other 30 members or 32 because we are 39. The house has to vote on whether they approve or disapprove your nomination. If you're successful, then we'll be looking forward to work with you. If not, we still appreciate that you've had time to come and answer our questions. So wish you the very best, and we hope possibly, if it goes well, we'll still be keen to call you back here and see whether you'll keep your word. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We'll be able to do one more before we break for lunch and the plenary, and then come for the last one after the plenary. So the last nominee for this session before we break.